an immense story inside your head that just needs to get out. Oh, my phone. Oh.
Welcome to another episode of Behind the Slate, where I sit down with fellow voice actors and other industry artists to have a fireside chat. I'm your host, Christian O'Boyle. If you'd like to know more about me, please check out my website at christianoboyle.com. In this episode, I'll be talking with Vincent Fallow, a German-based voice actor. He has voiced in many projects, including Cyberscape Neo and several AAA games, including Tom Clancy's The Division 2 in German. He's excited to further his career in both the German and English market. How's it going? How are things? We've never officially talked. How are things?
Yeah, dude. Things are fine, right? I'm just super happy that you actually wanted to, have an interview with me.
Of
That's awesome.
course. Well, we both kind of started in February,
Yeah, we did.
so I figured, hey, he started when I started. So let's see where we both are in this adventure of
Right.
voiceovers, and
Right.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. You're actually one of the first few people that I actually started talking to because of VoicePoint. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I got all settled in on VoicePoint, and it was you and a couple other people. It was before it really even took off with how many people there is now.
Yeah.
So
How many are we?
I have no idea. Only and it used to, like, so many people used to talk, and now it's like 20 people are involved maybe. And
Right.
earlier it's like, I swear we had like 20, 50 people talking at once.
Yeah, exactly. It could have been.
Yeah,
It got very convoluted at times, but it was great.
it was.
Yeah.
h- I I've always wanted to speak with you and
Yeah.
everyone else in VoicePoint and in the community and stuff, and just having this ability to thankfully be find a good time for both of us, because you're 9 hours ahead, so you're about to go to bed and I'm in the middle of my day.
Yeah.
It's
That's
so
right.
crazy. Do you find that being in a such a far time zone, that when you're doing your English projects, do you feel that kind of can hinder um providing stuff, or have you not ran into any issues with that yet?
Oh, all the live direction sessions I had to reschedule, dude. So yeah, no, it's definitely a problem. I'll try to make it as little of a problem as I can,
Hmm.
especially for the workshops. There's so many workshops, and they're all at 2 a.m. my time,
Mm,
and that's hard. It's hard to perform at that hour.
right.
It's hard to listen at that hour. It's hard to exist at that hour. So
Yeah.
it's tough.
And you're sitting there like, I have to get up for work in like 4 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You have that
And
pressure,
then
just like, oh my god, I'm not gonna get
all
it.
the rest of the day is just gonna be slow and dragging. You're like, when do I go home and take a nap?
Yeah, yeah, exactly that.
So,
Yeah.
do you find, because you work full time, do you
Mhm.
find that when you do voiceovers, do you do it every day? Do you just do you balance it so that way you still have a home life? Because you have a girlfriend,
Yeah.
so balancing between time with her and then time with voice acting. What does your schedule kind of look like?
Oh, yeah. I mean, thanks to you and your help for time management, it got a lot better.
Right,
Yeah, in the beginning, I recorded every day, and I had to record every day because I had to meet deadlines,
right.
and then I kept messing up all the takes and stuff like that.
Because
Stuff
you're
you do.
rushing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now it's fine. I still kind of record every day. Right now, I really have a lot to tackle.
Hmm.
But usually I keep 2 or 3 days a week just for Melissa,
Right.
so I can chill. Right now, like the last 2 weeks, I was recording every day, but usually I try to have some
Right.
time with her.
So how is the German market? Like, it seems like you've been doing a lot of projects in German.
You're absolutely right there. Most of this stuff is fan stuff. There's just a lot of fan content, whatever is needs to be done. And it's not as organized as
Mm,
the American or the rest of the world, which is kind of weird. But I'm trying to bring in some sort of, like a benchmark for quality
right.
and being having deadlines. Let's name it at that. Like
Yeah.
usually people don't really work with deadlines or live direction or something like that, and I kind of want to bring that in a little more. Give all the stuff that I learned from VAC, Voice Point, and Casting Call Club just into this whole German thing, and being like, even though it's a hobby, we can make this something good, and we can all learn from it, and then we'll have a nice little packet.
Well, maybe it'll be more than just a hobby at one point. Maybe it will be taking off to where a lot of games, a lot of animations are even more in German as well.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, the general market, especially the professional market, there is a lot of dubbing, especially for every movie under the sun. So many series, like Hamburg, for example, where I'm at, right next to me, let's say 200 meters away, they are recording for all the Netflix series and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
these need dubbing as well. There's a huge demand, but not that much incentive to, actually pay people properly.
Right. So you
Yeah.
just have to set the standard of, hey, this is what a voice actor should be paid in this market.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I talked to some veterans and they told me back in the 80s and before that, 70s and stuff like that, that's where German voice acting was in its golden age and people valued it a lot and they paid a lot for it and there went a lot of quality. There was a lot of quality in these projects and a lot of love for translations and everything. And it's kind of going into the, you know, like just
It's getting
getting it out more faster.
oversaturated right
Yeah.
now. And yeah. Well, I mean,
But yeah.
you've recorded for several AAA games. Um, how was that experience?
The most recent experience was The Division 2, and that was super exciting for me because it was the first time I got to see a studio by being a complete outsider, like not being known to anyone, and then going in there, and then you have to impress.
Right.
And that was a tough one, but it was great. Like,
Nerve
people
wracking.
loved it. My heart was beating straight out of my chest, but it was worth it. And it was only 11 takes. We were done in 15 minutes, but it was they were the longest 15 minutes of my life.
That's amazing. Um, so what was the full experience of being in a professional studio? What was that like?
um, where do I start? I mean, first off, we had a camera team there because that got into German TV, which is
Hmm.
cool. I was not prepared for that. I hope I'll never see the footage because I was not prepared for on camera stuff. Uh, but it was great. It was a very familiar experience, how to say, and also very, very close one. So
Hmm.
there was the director, and he was like, "Okay, so your characters are X and Y. Here are the NDAs. Please sign that. And this is what we're doing. This is what we're aiming for. Now we can go into the booth and we'll do some warm ups together. Usually everyone
Right.
does it on their own, but we did it together because it was more fun that way."
Yeah.
Yeah, and after 10 minutes of tongue twisters, we went for it, and that was that. I did not expect the way they recorded it because the way it worked was you hear the original audio, and straight after that, no beeps or nothing, you have to speak the German version of that
Okay.
with the exact same length. So you have to match it with the tenth of a second
Right.
accuracy over
Right.
and over all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
And that was good.
that sounds amazing.
Super
It sounds like a
exciting.
lot of fun.
It
What
was.
got you into acting?
Oh, it's great that you're saying acting and not just voice acting. That's
What
perfect.
what got you into acting?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a necessity because I really soon figured out that voice acting requires a lot of acting. So
Right.
the German the German word for voice acting translates into like synchronous speaker. So just
Okay.
like someone who talks at the same thing as the other guy,
Right.
which does not match the stuff that you have to do. And I hated actors for the most time, like for the most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized in order to portray something believably, I have to look into what acting actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I can say Crispin Freeman brought me into like embracing acting and seeing it as what it is.
Yeah.
Not that big of a deal, but an immense story inside your head that just needs to get out. Oh, my phone. Oh,
Hey, we have a
oh.
meeting, and that's your alarm.
It is.
Right on the dot.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Crispin Freeman's his voiceover mastery is just
Yes.
phenomenal. That kind of started really I was already kind of into it playing around, but that kind of just got me further into the mindset and what to expect. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. What really helped me was that especially the early episodes were so spiritual, and
yeah,
I'm I'm a aware person. I like to, be in tune with that. And it was so much easier for me to resonate with everything that's being taught with the back thought that it all has spiritual value. Made it a lot easier.
right. Well, that's nice. So how long have you been voice acting once you kind of got this idea of acting? Voice acting is acting. So what then got you into the voice acting part, and how long has that been?
Yeah. Wow, that's a question I should be able to answer fairly quick, but I can't. It's such a mix. But I think soon after February came around, where we both started,
Mhm.
I truly felt that it needed I needed to do that and exactly that, especially because
Right.
video game characters themselves, they come alive through voice acting.
Right. Right.
And that's the point where I most desperately want to be in because I myself got a lot of uh, so many values from video game characters. I cannot
Right.
even begin to count that.
Right. Right. I love just the video games and how in depth they've gotten from when we were kids. Uh when we were kids, there you got kind of lines, and you're like, cool, that's words. And then it's now a story. There's so much emotion, and you have to act. You have to have that ability to portray something, but not with your face, only with your voice.
Yeah,
And it's intense. It's more intense, and I've done theater, and it's sometimes more intense than theater, because
that's awesome.
all you have is just vocals, and that you have to portray this character. But the stories have gotten fantastic, the writing, but
Yeah.
I mean, I love where it's gotten in taking. Um, how do you feel that being bilingual in the voiceover world has helped you, because you are doing these German projects and then you're doing these English projects. So you
Yeah.
have kind of this open end where you have a little bit more access to these things.
Yeah. To me, it more feels like being on a scale. So whenever I do something German, my English goes a little bit more, downwards. That's why I have this heavy accent right now because I've done nothing but speak in German like the last 3 weeks, I think. And it always goes back and forth. So I always have to watch my German a little bit after I did a lot of English stuff.
Right,
It potentially gives me a lot of more, let's say, more opportunities for different casting calls whenever people need something more exotic or something that doesn't quite sound properly American.
right,
And that's
right,
where I can come in because sometimes, or most often than not, accents are not really specified. Or sometimes people think, this weird little dialect this guy has actually makes the cut. And that's how I got into, for example, Cyberscape Neo, I think.
right. Yeah, that's fun. Now, have you been speaking English like since you're a child, or when did you start kind of picking up English?
Yeah, it's weird for Germans because on a general German level, I speak it fairly well.
Right.
And I've started trying to speak any sort of English since ever since second grade
Oh, wow.
because it sounded so cool.
I mean, German to me sounds amazing.
There you go. I hate it. No, I love it.
To you, German probably sounds normal. It's the norm.
Kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
I get the appeal of Rammstein, for example,
Hmm.
best German band ever,
I know
because
them.
yeah, very good, because they play with the consonants, the intonation, with all this Germanness in the German language, and make it really work. And that's
Right.
where I got so much inspiration for all my voices, just based on Rammstein and original German poetry, just bringing back the fire and the meaning of how much emotion can be portrayed in the German language, which people tend to forget.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people outside of Germany or speaking German fluently, a lot of people see that German is very harsh and gruff. Um,
Yeah,
but I mean, like every language, it has its own beauty to it,
yeah.
especially when you actually have the understanding of each word. Um,
Mhm.
but that that is so cool that you get to just balance and bounce between German and English and German. And when someone's like, "Hey, I'm looking for someone with a German accent," you're like, "Bam, audition."
Damn right. That's what I do all the time. It's like, oh,
uh,
German? Did someone say German?
German.
Mm.
So speaking of German, and you're wearing this amazing Christmas sweater. You've done a project in front of a Christmas tree
Oh yeah.
reading stories in German. How
Yeah.
did that how'd you find this project?
That was it involved a lot of gin tonic. But it was great. It was the first time I ever got to read in front of a camera without having too many mess ups.
Right.
And what I read there was actually the highlights from a pen and paper podcast, which I narrate. But
Okay.
at that moment, I narrated the entire thing with characters and all the other stuff that I usually don't get to narrate. So
Right.
I had to make an impression of all the player characters as well. That's what I did in there. And I tried to be consistent. I wasn't after the second gin tonic. I just wasn't.
Of course
But
not.
it was,
You're
yeah.
like, I got a buzz.
But it was great. It was great, especially with the camera, and then like, okay, whenever you want, and you're just there. "Uh, Okay, can we do it again?"
They're like, no, this
Yeah.
is live. Oh, that would be intense.
Damn it. Yeah.
Uh so you you're making this splash in the German market and you're trying to set this precedence of
Mhm.
consistency and for people to pay German voice actors properly and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Where would you like to see yourself in 5 or 10 years?
Um, being the German voice, Troy Baker probably, or Matthew Mercer. I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
Something like that. No, yeah, definitely in a higher tier, so people recognize my voice,
Mhm.
but also I think the moment I achieve that one person will message me and tell me, "Hey, I know you voiced character X in JoJo Part 10, and that really gave me confidence in not giving up and stuff like that." That's the moment where I can say I totally made it and I can die in peace and I reached everything I ever wanted. Because that's what kind of that is what makes me want to voice act. And when that moment happens within the next 5 or 10 years, then I'm totally happy.
So you want to inspire, you want to be an inspiration to
Yeah.
other people in who might want to start voice acting because they heard you
Like,
or that you made such a notice in the German market or even English market to where
yeah, both would be
both
perfect.
both ideally.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I saw photos that you went around Europe and you traveled a couple
Yeah.
months ago.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was just a big trip through Scotland,
Mm,
but it was great.
right.
It was great. I never expected Scotland to be this beautiful, really, because I'm kind of a antisocial dude, and I really
Right.
like it when there's not many people and when you have uh untamed nature, so to say. And it was all beautiful. It was Lord of the Rings as heck. So good, so beautiful. I fell in love with every bit of scenery. It's amazing. And I had a lot of whiskey. So God,
I
so
mean,
good.
those photos of you standing like right next to the lake was beautiful, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so jealous, so jealous." I would love to go to Scotland. I've been to Ireland and Paris and
Oh wow.
Italy and London are my
That's
international, and Canada, but
that's
Canada's like
cool.
Canada's like 4 hours away for me. I can drive up to Canada in like 4 or 5 hours.
That's
Um,
okay. It's still awesome.
Still
Like I haven't
awesome.
been
I
there
mean,
yet.
you also have access to all these other countries,
Yeah.
just outside of your border, basically. Uh,
Yeah.
so, what is a project that you're most excited about?
Um well, one project is covered by an NDA, so I can't
Well,
really say
don't
anything about it.
zip it. Well, I can't wait to see what that is
Yeah.
when you can. What about something else?
Okay. Definitely the new episode of Cyberscape Neo, because I get to do some after credits sort of thing,
Mhm.
and it kind of leads up to me being a more prevalent character in that story. And
Right.
uh, it's just whenever you have a super high quality project and you really just you're such a fan and you can't wait to hear everyone's next performance. It's
Right.
exactly what this is.
That's amazing. Sometimes she has to have the confidence in herself that she's pretty darn good.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, that's the same with me and standing behind a mic. I always need to have Melissa telling me, "You're good at what you're doing." I'm like, I hate everything I
you've
do.
worked with AAA projects. I mean, that alone should solidify that you're good at what you do.
It did for 3 days, and then I was back at, oh my God, I haven't been to a AAA studio for 3 days. I'm probably gonna suck now. Yeah, the
No,
thoughts.
I find that a lot of people in the community have confidence, they self doubt, um,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And so I'm like, I wish I could just let everyone know, like, hey, you're amazing. Trust me, you're doing good. Where can people go to find more about you and more about your work?
www.vincentfallow.com. No, actually, but yeah, that website. There's my YouTube channel as well. I still haven't reached 100 subscribers, so I can't change the channel name. Otherwise, I
Right,
totally would.
right.
Yeah, but you can find it if you search Vincent Fallow, and there's a lot of German stuff as well, but also English YouTube related projects.
What about Twitter?
Oh yeah, you can totally follow me there if you're into Buddhist memes and dank memes and a lot of voice acting stuff.
Yeah, of course. Boyle isn't our last name either. Um,
Oh,
a
where
Boyle.
did it come from?
So my mother's maiden name is Boyle,
Yeah,
and I wanted to make it a little bit more fancy, so I added the O. So I took it all the way back to our Irish lineage. So
yeah.
O'Boyle came in. So our last name is Anderson.
Yeah, yeah, doesn't sell that well.
It's not like Christian Anderson sounds great, but it's popular.
Yeah.
There's already a Christian S. Anderson who's a professional actor. I own christianjanderson.com for my photography. So I
Mm.
was like, I don't want to do christianjandersonvo.com or anything
Yeah.
like that. So, and then again, I didn't want to deal with the commonality of the last name Anderson.
Mhm.
So then I started playing with my mother's maiden name, my grandmother's maiden name, my other grandmother's maiden name, and just kind of playing with all these names that I had available because I wanted to keep it personal in some sort of way.
Yeah.
And
That's
then,
cool.
yeah, Christian O'Boyle came up, and I was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Christian Boyle, I was like, nah. And I kept on skipping over it. But when I added O'Boyle, I was like, Yeah. I said, Jesse, what do you think? She goes, I like that. She goes, but you don't sound Irish. I was like, but I am Irish. A little
Well,
bit.
that little bit. I don't be all Irish.
As everyone is. Everyone is a little bit. But I was like, well, Liam O'Brien doesn't sound Irish. And she goes,
Touche.
you're right. She goes, you should do it. It's like, okay, here we go. So that's how Christian O'Boyle came into existence.
That's awesome.
So and then
Backstory unlocked.
yeah, Fallow is not your official last name.
Yeah, you're right.
What
You're right. It's the English translation of my German last name.
what would your last name be? Not
In
would it be? What
German,
is your last name?
it's Brach.
Brach.
Yeah, this ch, you got it down right. That very good.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
like that.
it doesn't really sell well. It's hard. I mean, there's this popular candy brand, Brach's Candies.
Right.
I'm not that sweet of a guy, so I
Oh,
went
posh, pish posh.
"Whoo."
You're wearing a little boa. I think you're pretty fantastic and nice to me and sweet.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I just threw that thing into Google Translate because I didn't want to be necessarily associated with my family name. I don't really like it that much.
Right.
And the first result was Fallow, and I was like, oh, cool. That sounds edgy enough to be my new name.
Right.
Yeah.
I like it. Vincent
Thank you.
Fallow. It flows. And it's easy to spell. I mean, I think that's also something that is very important because you don't want to have like the last name Yunusevich. And it's just like,
Yeah, exactly.
how do you spell that? And then you always have to give the spelling. It's like Christian O'Boyle. Oh, I'll look that up. I got it. Sweet.
Right.
Vincent Fallow. Oh, I'll look that up. I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's simple. It's
Yeah.
easy. SEO friendly, as we say.
SEO fan. Yep.
Yeah.
Marketable. It's very marketable.
Yeah. Right.
But thank you for being on the podcast. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for listening to Behind the Slate with guest Vincent Fallow. If you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell button to stay notified. Auf Wiedersehen. We're so close. I did it. I did it. I did it. I did it. I don't know how well it is, but I did it.
I gotta put my beer away.
No, you're good.
Ah,